Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. This is me again, subject teacher of English OPE class 5, Umar Farooq Sumru. I hope all of you are fine, and I have heard that the students of class 5 are responding in very great spirit to their homework and online classes. I hope you will reply by my lecture as with great spirit and good response. So students, this is our second lecture of unit 1 lesson 3. In previous lecture we learned about or we read about number 1 expedition that was towards the North Pole. I will tell you some significant points and we will enlighten some significant points of this lesson. Then we will step forward to our second expedition. Okay, so in this first expedition all of you students learned that three members of a team went on an expedition to the North Pole. The three women were Anne Daniel, Caroline Hamilton, and Pom. These were the three women that had already walked to the South Pole, and now they were trying to go to the North Pole. But the journey to the North Pole was different for them because the temperature on the North Pole is minus 50 centigrade, and it is very cold in North Pole that no life can be exited for much time. Students, जहाँ नॉर्थ पोल पर 3 वुमेन का ग्रुप जिसमें कैरोलिन हैमिल्टन, एन डैनियल और पॉम गई थी, जो नॉर्थ पोल की तरफ था, ये बहुत डिफ़िकल्ट था। क्यों कि वहाँ पर आम तौर पर माइनस 50 सेंटीग्रेड टेम्परेचर होता है, जिसका मतलब है कि वो एरिया नॉर्थ पोल का बहुत ही ज़्यादा ठंडा होता है। वहाँ पर कोई भी इंसान या कोई भी ज़िंदा रहने वाली चीज़ बहुत ज़्यादा अरसे तक ज़िंदा नहीं रह सकती। ओके, द चिल्ड्रन said to their mother, please call us from the North Pole. That was very difficult, but Anne Daniel made it possible, and she called her children in June 2002 and told their children that I am here on the North Pole. Okay, so students, what we had to do, we had to match the pictures with these expeditions. We are given 4 pictures. As I told you, the journey towards the North Pole, as you can see in our first lecture, we read about the journey towards the North Pole, and this picture defines that this is the picture of North Pole. And we can also guess any idea that there were 2 women that were traveling towards the North Pole, because the third woman had frostbite on her toes, who was taken away by the aeroplane to the research station. So picture number B and C is matched with text 1. Then picture number A and picture D is matched with text 2 or expedition 2. Now we have to learn what does this thing tell us. So start our lecture by the graceful name of Allah. Number 2. In March 2001, Jim Shekdar walked up the beach in Eastern Australia. Okay, in March 2001, Jim Shekdar walked up the beach in Eastern Australia. He had rowed alone across the Pacific from east to west. So students, here we are learning about the person Jim Shekdar, whom we can say that he is so brave. He is so brave that he had rowed alone, not with his team. In our first text, we read that a group of 3 women or 3 girls made the journey towards the North Pole. But here we are learning about the person Jim Shekdar, who rowed the boat alone across the Pacific from east to west. It is very difficult to travel alone or visit Pacific Ocean or row the boat lonely. from east side to the west side, because the area of water of Pacific Ocean is too wide that no one can travel or no one can survive without the help of the friends, without the help of the team. But we must say Jim Shekdar was a very brave person who made his journey alone across the Pacific Ocean from east to west. The journey of 16,000 kilometers took him over 9 months. He took a journey of 16,000 kilometers that was about done in 9 months. Can you guess how many days are there in 9 months? So it will be easily 274 days. Okay, so at the last moment, big waves turned his boat upside down. Now, the book tells us about the difficulties that he faced when he was going to complete his journey. At the last moment, it means when he was completing his journey, big waves turned his boat upside down. Students, I am showing you another picture of waves here. These are called big waves. Can you see this picture? Quite sure. Okay, fine. You are watching this picture. How can you guess how big this wave can be? But Jim Shekdar rowed the boat lonely and made it possible. Jim had to swim the last 200 meters to the beach. Nobody can swim 200 meters in the sea or in river, because the area 200 meters is too big to be swimmed, to be swum. Okay, when some people came to help him on the beach, he said, "Don't help me." What did he say to the people who are trying to help him? He said, "Don't help me." He called to helpers on the beach. He said, "Please don't help me. I must do this on my own." He said that if I have traveled 16,000 kilometers, so how could I be able to take your help in 200 meters just? I can swim 200 meters to the beach. Don't help me. I must do this on my own. That means I must do my work with my own hands, or I must do with my work with my own body. Without help, he managed to break the record for long time cross Pacific journey. He broke the record for this long cross Pacific journey because no one had traveled alone by about the 1600 kilometers that took over 9 months journey. No one made such journey before James Shekdar did. Okay, Jim had several lucky space. Now the book tells us about some lucky space when Jim Shekdar was saved. Now one night, now Jim Shekdar is telling us about lucky escapes when he was saved. One night I was sleeping. When I woke up suddenly, he was sleeping in a small boat, as you are watching here. So, students, you have seen many big boats, many big ships that row towards or across the ocean. Okay, so when Jim Shekdar was sleeping in his small boat, he could hear an engine noise. He heard a noise from an engine. He was so surprised because it was the time of night or midnight and he was in sleep. He was sleeping. Then he suddenly heard a noise of an engine and he is saying now, when he broke his sleep, he is saying that I saw a huge ship coming towards me. A very huge ship was coming towards him when he was sleeping in a small boat. He was very surprised. He was very surprised because he was thinking that the big boat or the big ship must screw up his small boat. Luckily, it missed me. What a luck. Luckily, it missed me by a few meters. A very big ship just missed him by a few meters distance. It was so shocked. It was so shocked because if I say, students, some of you are traveling across the ocean, and at the time of midnight, when you are sleeping in your small boat, suddenly you hear a voice of an engine that is coming from a big ship. You will suddenly surprised, and you become yours, and you feel yourself very very dangerous. Okay, so the condition or situation must be very dangerous when you are sleeping at midnight in your small boat, and a big boat or a big ship is crossing your small boat by just a few meters distance. Now Jim Shekdar is telling us that I was so shocked I couldn't sleep for a week. He was so surprised and shocked that he couldn't take sleep for a week. Okay, when and now Jim joked with reporters when he came back to Australia, or he arrived in Australia. He joked with the reporters because if a person comes from a big journey, if a person comes by taking a very huge research, or by returning home with making a world record of crossing Pacific Oceans, many people come to take his interview or his autograph to meet him. Many people came. So when the reporters came to him, he joked with the reporters. What did he say to them? Don't come too close. He said to the reporters, don't come too close. I haven't had a bath for 274 days. Students, can you guess? A person who has not taken bath for 274 days, what would be his condition? If a person hasn't taken bath for 274 days, what would be his condition? So students, अगर एक इंसान ने अकेले 16,000 किलोमीटर का रास्ता 9 महीनों में, जो रास्ता पैसिफिक समंदर में से गुजरता हो, यानी उसकी ईस्ट साइड से लेकर उसकी वेस्ट साइड तक जाना, ये जिम शेखदार का मार्च 2001 में एक बहुत ही बड़ा दुनिया का रिकॉर्ड था जो उसने अकेले कर दिखाया। हालांकि बहुत मुश्किल था। और जिम शेखदार ने बताया कि इस बीच में मैंने कई बार अपना लक भी आजमाया और लक ने मेरा साथ दिया। कैसे कि जिम शेखदार बताता है कि एक रात में जब सो रहा था तो मैंने अचानक इंजन की आवाज़ सुनी तो मैं जाग गया। फिर मैंने देखा कि एक बहुत बड़ी शिप मेरी छोटी सी बोट के बिल्कुल करीब से गुजर गई। जिम शेखदार ने कहा कि मुझे इतना शौक़ लगा उस चीज़ का कि मैं एक हफ़्ते तक सो नहीं पाया था। और काफ़ी शार्क्स भी थीं, जो समंदर में बड़ी फ़िश होती हैं शार्क्स, वो भी काफ़ी बार मेरी छोटी सी कश्ती के आगे पीछे घूमती थीं, और मैं एक छड़ी पे चाकू मारकर नीचे पानी में मारता था। जो शार्क्स को अच्छा नहीं लगता था तो वो डिसअपीयर हो जाती थी, चली जाती थी। और जब जिम शेखदार अब ऑस्ट्रेलिया वापस आए इस जर्नी से, तो उन्होंने रिपोर्टर्स को कहा, डोंट कम टू क्लोज, आई हैवंट हैड अ बाथ फॉर 274 डेज। जिम शेखदार ने कहा कि मेरे करीब मत आना, जोक करते हुए, हंसते हुए। क्यों? कि मैंने 274 दिनों से नहाया नहीं है। Students, can you guess about it? So it was truth said by Jim Shekdar. So it was the journey towards Pacific Ocean. We learned in our first lecture, in our first text, about the journey towards the North Pole. In our second lecture, we learned about the journey of Pacific Ocean that was done by Jim Shekdar. So students, our lecture of lesson number 3, text 2 is going to end now. You have a homework for yourself. What you have to do, you have to read these two texts and underline the direct speech in the text for these sentences. You have to read text number 1 and text number 2 and underline the direct speech for these sentences. You have to read text 1 and text 2 and also underline the direct speech in the text, direct speech sentences in the text for these sentences. Okay, so students, our lecture ends here. We will meet inshallah in our next lecture. Allah Hafiz.